say, man, I don't know her. She's too quiet.
What up, though? It's your girl, She's Too Quiet, and welcome back to the She's Too Quiet podcast. She's Too Quiet is all about remembering your voice matters. Although you're quiet, people are actually interested in you. They want to know where you go, where you don't go, what you like, and what you don't like. On today's episode, we have a special guest in the building, Miss Roslyn Price. She is the proud mother of 2 young men, and we're going to get into another installment of Pieces of a Woman. For those that are new to this season, Pieces of a Woman is a series about womanhood. This has insight on what women may be thinking, what some women go through, and we even get into some biblical stories in the Bible of women who have persevered and who have triumphed over adversity. This episode, me and Miss Price, we're going to talk a little bit about her journey in motherhood, as well as get into the movie called The Forge. The Forge was produced by the Kendrick brothers. These producers are critically acclaimed for producing the movie The War Room. So sit back, grab something good to drink. Let's get into it.
Hello everyone. Yes, as you said, I have 2 boys, 10 and 7, very active young men who are keeping me busy and on my toes.
So did you imagine you would be a mother of 2 boys?
I not imagine, but I probably hope for it. I have all sisters, so I did want boys, but I also wanted a girl somewhere in the mix. Mm-hmm. But I got too tired.
So motherhood was always in the plan.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Man, in today's society, I am so worried. I don't know how y'all do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of challenges to work around compared to our parents raising us and their parents raising them. Definitely always something on the forefront of the brain, or to take in consideration on how to maneuver, find new tactics to still have your core values built into your parenting style, but also be kind of aware of the new times of how things are going with technology, with different aspects. It's not necessarily teaching your young men about birds and the bees, but there's other insects out there, I guess you could say, to talk about, to kind of keep them aware, but not, you don't want to be naive to things, but you also want to keep your core values and make sure that you're doing your best part.
That's what I worry about, like the character of the children. That is like, how am I going to make sure that I impart good character with so many influences coming in and out, and then I can't even be in control of the influences all the time.
Not at all. I guess as the years go, you learn from friends who have kids that are older or younger or in the same age bracket as your kids. Obviously, you rely on your family, who you value their, input in anything that they have taught you or how you were raised. But wholeheartedly, you just kind of, each child is different. So you just try to your best to understand their personality and then try to sharpen it with positive influences. You definitely got to pray. But you definitely, it's nothing wrong with just reading up on different things, trying to understand how to try new things. It's kind of like a science project.
I feel that. I can see that. And for me, it's interesting because now that I'm living away from my parents, I'm wondering if moving back when I have kids or start thinking about that, like, how hard is it to just, my advice. I may need some advice here.
Yeah.
Living, a couple of hours away from family that would like be able to help me raise these kids.
Yeah. I've had friends, who are in that situation or were in that situation when their children were little. They talked about it a lot, how difficult it is, how hard it is to trust other people with your kids.
Right.
My sister's in the military, so she has that thought and she sees it firsthand. As families move and not near, their core family members. So it definitely would be more difficult in the sense of like giving you a much needed break. Because every now and then you need a break. You're going to need like decompress time because you can't keep going at high level. Right. You're going to break out and crash. You're going to be like, I just can't take it anymore. Right. But, not saying that you don't love your kids or they're not a blessing, but truly like, it's a lot to take on when you're caring for another person every day, all day, as much as you possibly can. So parent is definitely a blessing to have if they, can be helpful because they give you that break you may need.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Because I can't imagine like 365.
Yeah, 24/7. Yeah. It's definitely hard. And then their advice is going to come over the phone regardless. So that's another factor. You're always going to be like, well, this is what I wanted to do. And then your parents may or may not agree or give you separate or different advice, not knowing your opinion or thoughts. And then that's when the doubt or the questions may come in and you're like, I can't take it. Even with my husband, we're two people, tag team, and me growing up single parent household majority of the time, it was like I can't even fathom how my mom did it, and then I have help, and it's like, okay, this could have been really difficult.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so much. And then like as I get older, sometimes I wonder, am I thinking too deeply into a lot of, the things that I haven't really approached yet, especially motherhood and stuff like that, because I know it's a big responsibility. But at the same time, I don't want to be like one of those tiger moms, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. To where I'm like, y'all need to do this, y'all need to make sure you're like this. I still want to
be fun.
Yeah,
definitely, most definitely.
But at the same time, it's like
you got to be structured because the world is influencing kids at a high, rapid rate. It's true. You definitely have to start with the foundation of that. It's kind of like a healthy fear you create. And then once that's established, then it's like, all right, they're gonna let them fall, let them make mistakes. I mean, we're human, so you kind of let that go. I don't know any true strategy. I really think it depends on the kid.
Okay.
When I was at my kid's practice, there was like a little 3-year-old. His mom was telling him like, we don't hit. And he looked at her and just turned around and did something else.
Oh.
He didn't talk back. He didn't hit anyway. He did, where some kids may, I'm gonna get my last lick and go, or some, so it just kind of depends on the establishment that you set at the beginning, and then hopefully they could, be obedient to that because they understand you're just wanting them to be, safe.
And that brings me to The Forge.
Oh yeah, great movie.
Such
a great movie.
Yeah, so Roslyn was telling me about this movie, and I did have it on my list to see. And she confirmed that I need to go see this movie. So yesterday I said, let me find me a little ticket. Man, that was a good movie.
It was a really good movie.
I don't know. I loved how wholesome it was. It was a very wholesome movie. And I love how there was some influences from the war room still carried over. There was comedic relief. Yeah. I was surprised at the comedy.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I'm not going to hold you. And can you just tell me what you liked most about the movie? You guys, before we get into this, this may be a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So if you have not watched The Forge, go ahead and pause this podcast.
Yeah.
Watch it and then listen to the rest.
Yeah. Definitely, because it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. My first initial, I'm a crybaby, so I cried. I cried because it's so emotional.
Yeah.
Also being a mom of boys, seeing this, character portrayed on the TV as, in the movie as a mom of a young adult and basically telling him to get his act together.
Right. Yeah.
And it really just, honed in on prayer is a huge influence in raising kids, even into adulthood, because there's only so much you can do.
Right.
You can drill into them all the responsibility, all the morals and values, but at the end of the day, they're their own person. They're going to become who they're going to be, and you need God to guide them. So the movie just, confirmed that. And then it also, for me, showed how important it is the circle you have around and to mentor, and how men mentoring other men is so valuable.
Right.
And how even though there's outside influences, the right outside influence could be a game changer for your children and or you as a mentor to any of us. Who's the right mentor is, could have an individual be more than they thought they would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did a great job building up that whole story, redemption type of vibe in the movie. And I'll tell you, that part that made me just cry was when he was mad at his dad because he saw his dad.
Yes.
And okay, let me give y'all a little backstory. Okay, so it's about, he's 19, I think, in the movie. And he doesn't have a job. He's not going to school. So started out the movie with really no future plans.
No.
And so he kind of has like a little attitude. He's really focused on playing basketball, video games. That's mainly what he wants to do all day. So the mom puts her foot down. She's like, nah, you're going to have to pay me some rent. You're going to have to get you a job because I can't keep doing this how it's going. So basically, he has a God experience and he's in the process of learning how to be a man of God. And there was a point where forgiveness came up. And he had to forgive his father. His father ended up leaving his mother, and how that situation goes. And so he's working at a new job, everything going well. You feel like, okay, it's only up from here.
Yeah.
Really. And then all of a sudden, a delivery comes. He's in charge of, receiving the delivery. Man, he pulls up that garage door and it's his father.
He lost it at that point. I can't take this no more. He threw that pen down so hard.
Right. So he storms off all mad. Later on, he ends up going home. And he has a moment with God about his father. Kind of find out his mom was on the outside of the door listening.
Trying hard not to make a sound, but she was crying and praying at the same time.
So he pretty much was asking God to take the burden of his father away from him. And the mentor in the movie, he had mentioned that God is his new father. And I was like, ooh, this is deep.
That's deep. That's good.
This was deep. And he was like, he's not him.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep trusting your father. And, you'll be able to forgive and stuff like that. And he's working through it. Even at the end of the movie, that's still an ongoing process with him and his father's relationship. But yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Another thing that I thought was interesting to see was, like you were mentioning, the whole mentoring / discipleship piece of it all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to do that some more. I don't know how, churches and communities could tap in. Yeah. But we really need to build strong discipleship.
Definitely.
Even women too. Because I'm like, do they got one of these groups?
For the ladies? Exactly. Because just to guide you through the different things you will go through as a woman, or, like you're saying, motherhood, being a wife, career, just being a young lady and representing yourself, because that's kind of what they were, building integrity as a man, being a man of your word. Like, those are the things that they were instilling even before any other, like, what we deem as like life milestones, I guess. Like, they didn't even bring up, spouse or children, just kind of dealing with you in your walk with God.
Yeah.
And so those things are definitely like to learn from the mistakes of others so that you can be a better child of God into your discipleship. And then just reminding you truly the general reason why we're here. Like above all things, like we're here to be disciples.
Yeah.
And so it was just a great movie. I will watch it again. Yes. I was like, I'm gonna take somebody, I'm gonna go with somebody. You know, yes. I went with some girlfriends and we stayed after the movie and talked for another hour. Yeah. So definitely a good movie, a reminder of how to just continue to be in a state of prayer and also, you know, wanting to find your tribe, I guess you can say, a group of people to guide you through life.
Yeah. I agree. And it was cool too, because at the end of the movie, I don't think I've ever seen this where you can pay for somebody's movie ticket.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
So that they can go and see the movie. I was like, they're onto something. They are. That's another form of discipleship right there.
That is true. I took a picture of that QR code because it was going by too fast.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, that was a pretty good idea. I know there are churches that are like using their sanctuary as a theater to like, you know, make sure the congregation can watch together. And I think it's like you said, like a great aspect to keep showing people like this is how you deal with adversity through Christ. So if he was dealing with being lost, basically not knowing where to go, what to do, I'm just gonna sit here and chill at my mom's house until I figure it out. And she was like, you ain't gonna figure it out on the basketball court in that video game. Even though, and in one of the parts in the movie, he basically gave it up. Yeah. He gave the video games up. He's like, all right, Lord, what you want me to give up? And he's like, oh, no.
Yeah, he was salty. He had to give up his video games. He cleaned his room.
Yeah.
Got rid of everything. He was going through his phone.
Yeah. Oh, I got to get rid of you.
Yeah, and I think we can all see someone in him.
Yeah.
You know, someone we know in our families and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, definitely going to keep that movie in the toolbox.
Yeah. You're going to have to rewatch it and bring it back.
Yeah, that was good. So, if y'all haven't had a chance to watch The Forge, I encourage you to watch it. Definitely. And definitely something to keep in your library, I tell you that.
Definitely.
Well, Roslyn, I thank you.
Well, yeah,
for taking some time to talk to me. Yeah, I've been trying to get her on this podcast.
I know. It's the busy mother life, you know.
Right. We're finally here. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in seeding into the podcast, feel free to give via Cash App using the handle $She's Too Quiet. Don't forget to do two things: love God and love people. Until next time, deuces.
Bye.